Do you like movies, comic books, science fiction, and more? Then you come to the right place. This is the Rebel Radio Podcast. You can find us at therebelradiopodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome to a new episode of the Rebel Radio Podcast. This is Mark.
This is Matt.
This is Long, the Trojan.
Trojan man.
Prince of Troy. Man, we can't even make it 10 seconds of the show and Matt makes a fucking Trojan man joke. Wow.
I don't get it.
You remember the old commercials?
Yeah, man.
For the Trojan condoms?
It's not relevant to me because I haven't used any.
That's right. Time. Raw dog long. Oh, yeah.
Not even.
I don't think that's what he meant, Matt. Good Lord.
Abstinent. I've been abstinent. Could you be abstinent too for 11 years, Matt?
Nope.
Can you?
No, I can't.
Exactly.
I can't, sir. Yes, I dip too much.
Oh man, so my 6-year-old, y'all know what drip is? It's like a slang, right? Nowadays,
yeah,
like how you dress.
Looking
I don't
good.
really quite get it, but Wyatt actually busted out the other day with like, yeah, I got drip, Dad. I go, you got what? I was like, no, man, you're 6. I mean, I was trying not to laugh. It was kind of funny. But it's like, the fuck you know about drip, man? It's like, get your ass to school. But yeah.
I'm picturing him with jeans and a collared shirt and some aviator sunglasses on with the collar popped, or something like that.
Yes.
Got drip, Dad.
It's pretty funny. Things they come up with sometimes. I was just like, what? You got drip? Oh, man. So how was y'all's week?
Cool. It was like, it's been cool.
It wasn't pretty nice weather.
Yeah.
Couple days got a little warm. But.
Yeah. It's like my AC didn't go on for half the day today. I was like, it was pretty nice.
Yeah. It's been pretty good.
I was like, is it broken?
Right.
Like, nope, the house is just cool.
Yeah, no, it's pretty
all right.
Yeah, I took Monday off, but it still felt like a long week, but thank God it's Friday night. A couple of days to relax, nothing really to do this weekend, and I'm okay with that, man. I'm okay. I had a busy weekend last weekend with my mother's birthday, so I'm good with not doing fucking. As I get older, I really like weekends where I don't have fucking shit to do. I mean, it's kind of good, Yeah, I think when I was younger, I liked to stay busy and have stuff to do. Now I'm like, no, I can honestly stay home all the fucking time. It has nothing to do with COVID or anything like that. I'm okay with staying home. I like that idea. It's like, damn.
Yeah, when you get older, man, it's like that's
man, it's a chore to go to fucking Walmart or wherever you need to go, and dragging the kids out, and then I'm getting to more and more and more where I like people a lot less, except, you guys, I can hang with y'all all the time and certain friends, but man, you go out in the public and 20 minutes, man, you're like, fuck these people, man, and it's just the way I feel as I get older sometimes, it's just like, people suck. That's a good way to put it.
They can.
Except for our wonderful listeners and you fellas. So,
Yeah, we are the best of the worst.
That's right.
We're just, they're just a bit worse than us. We're acceptably worse.
You guys are my best buds. So I can hang with you all the time. So
yeah, man.
It's cool, man. Speaking of being an adult, man, we all hung out a couple weeks ago and went and saw Shang-Chi and had lunch. And then this past Monday, I had lunch with my brother and my sister-in-law, and my mom for her birthday, and like, what the fuck's going on here, man? I had 2 adult dinners within a month. That hasn't happened in a long time. I was like, it was really nice. And yeah. So maybe in a couple weeks from now, I was thinking maybe a couple weeks from now we can maybe try to get together and go see James Bond. See what we can do. That'd be kind of cool if
That
you are
would be
down for
neat.
it. Yeah.
Heck
So
yeah, I'm
looking
always
forward to seeing
down.
that. So,
Aston Martin,
But,
machine guns for headlights. Cool.
I'm confused. Is Dune out?
no, Dune is out overseas. In America, it doesn't come out till the 22nd. It's October 22nd, America. Yeah, it's in European theaters already. It hit last weekend. I didn't see how it did box office wise.
Is it because they're vaccinated more than we are?
I think it's more that Dune tends to. I don't know. Is it considered a European type movie? Were the books European? I don't know.
No, it's American.
I thought it was strange that they got it a month early as well, and
Yeah, usually it's.
I don't know.
Sometimes it can be earlier, but not that much earlier. It's like a week.
I'm going to watch that.
I'm
watching that shit on HBO Max. I'm not going to theater for it. I'll watch it at home.
Same.
And fuck Dennis Villeneuve with talking shit about comic book movies. I didn't even bring that up on last week's show, but you brought up Dune. We're going to bring it up now. It's like you sitting there saying, "Oh, they're copy and paste movies." Motherfucker, you're remaking a movie. It's been made twice already. You want to talk shit? It's like, come on, dude. It's like, think about what you're making.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm right?
Copying and pasting.
Yeah. It's like you're sitting there telling Marvel movies are copy and paste. What are you doing, dude? You just have a much bigger budget and a fancy cast, but you're basically making the same movie that was made by David Lynch and then made on the Sci-Fi Channel in the early 2000s, which actually I like that version, the one that was on the Sci-Fi Channel. I thought it was pretty good. So we'll see how his is when it comes out in a month. But until then, getting tired of these directors talk. I think these directors just talk shit because their movies don't make as much money as some Marvel movies. That's honestly what I think. They're just jealous.
Mockery is the best form of flattery.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's get into today's show.
What their opinion is, and my life goes on. They don't pay my bills.
Yeah, I mean, I don't ultimately care, but I still want to talk about their ass if they're going to talk shit, because that's what we do in the show long, okay? I'm not saying it matters with your life, So, man. What are you drinking, Matt?
Vitamin or mineral water, sorry. Topo Chico.
Mexican shit.
Yep.
Basically.
Non-Montezuma's Revenge. Mexican
aren't you supposed to drink that in the morning after a fucking hangover?
Yeah.
I thought that's what that was for.
Usually. But I will
an energy drink for a change.
I thought I was drinking straight bottle of tequila there for a minute. I was like, good Lord, you're going to be trashed by the end of the show.
Tequila.
Hey.
That's awesome.
Shit. You never know. It is Friday night, so I actually usually drink a beer during the show, but I grabbed a Coke instead. So I'm being good. But all right, well, let's get into today's show then. Download this where we tell people we watched, streamed, checked out this week, and man, I've had such a busy week. I severely slacked in this category, but I did watch one. I watched the first episode of Star Wars Visions. So, and they're like 14 minutes long, but God, it was pretty badass. It's like feudal Japan, Star Wars, this first episode, and it's a very unique take on the Star Wars mythologies and add some neat stuff to it. And I really enjoyed it. So I'm definitely hopefully this week watch the rest of them. So far, so good. A really good start to that little anime series they put out. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's some really cool lightsaber shit in that first episode. I want you guys to see it if y'all haven't already to watch it.
I saw it. Umbrella lightsaber.
Fucking long, man. Just spoil it, bitch. Spoil it.
What?
It was cool. It was cool, man.
I thought Matt saw it.
No, I haven't.
I don't think you watched it. But
it was on the damn trailer anyways. God damn.
Anyway, that's about all I really watched this week. Played some Star Wars Galaxies, and as I usually do, and watched today's feature film. Today's feature film is very long. It took me like 3 days to watch this. Not because I don't like the movie and couldn't sit down for 3 hours in one sitting. I just did not have 3 hours in one day to sit and watch it. So it took me a couple days to watch it. But Star Wars Visions first episode is about all I really watched this week.
Nice.
Final Fantasy 14 all week. Go ahead, Matt. I'm done.
I slacked this week as well. I played some Destiny. I played some more Destiny. Tried to get some more currency in the game, so I went on some raids with some other players and had fun doing that. And I watched most of the What If episode of this week. Need to watch the rest. I left off and I didn't finish it, but I did see the Captain Marvel Thor fight. That was pretty cool. She calls him. She felt like she channeled a little Tony Stark and called Thor Whitesnake. And I was like, oh, good one. It was better than the last couple episodes so far, so I guess I'll continue watching them. But I need to watch Visions. I haven't seen Visions, and that's really it. Other than watching the Paw Patrol movie again with my kids, and they watch the SpongeBob movie again, and then Elmo and Grouchland. But, watched a couple reruns of Criminal Minds. Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with things we cover on the show.
No, it doesn't.
I have been reading. I think I told you I ordered a copy of Marvel Superhero Secret Wars, the one from the 80s, like the big first Marvel crossover ever. And I've been reading that. Man, I actually really enjoy it, man. There's something about the simplicity of those 80s comics, man. Like, there's a lot of exposition in them, and they explain everything to you, but there's something to really, like, appreciate about that, you know? The way comics were written then as compared to how they're written now. And I'm really liking it, man. It's cool. I can see definitely if Marvel's going that way in the next, 6-7 years with whatever films come out, if they are doing a Secret Wars film. According to Jim Shooter, he thinks they are, since he basically sold the rights to Marvel to Secret Wars. But it's a cool concept, a cool idea, where the Beyonder brings them all to a planet and he has them all fighting each other. And I would imagine the movie version is not going to be quite the same, but it's kind of cool. Right? There's this whole opening sequence where, like, they all these heroes and villains end up in one place, and like there's this whole exposition where they all explain who they are. Like, we are the Avengers, you know who we are, and he's like, I'm Professor X, and these are my X-Men. It's just like it's written really, like, kind of simplified, but yet that's the way the audiences were in the 80s. You had to explain more things to them. I don't know if audiences
was it drawn by George Perez?
No. You're thinking of the DC crossover, Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's Perez. DC, this was Mike Zeck did Marvel Superheroes.
He did the art.
Yeah, and
okay, because I know George Perez did a couple of gig jobs.
Oh yeah, he did some stuff too. But it's really cool. I'm enjoying reading it so far. I've gotten a couple of chapters in. It's like 12 issues. So, but good stuff, man. And I always like those old school Marvel. Of course, Superheroes is best known for or Marvel Secret Wars is best known for when Spidey gets his black costume, of course, and which went on a few years later to become Venom, as we know. So,
yeah,
cool, good stuff.
Actually, just a little joke aside about my download this. I did actually branch out a little bit this weekend. I did watch Star Wars Visions, but I did watch one episode called Twins. And that was a really good one, 2D animated. And, one of the voices... What?
You said branch out. I thought, wait, you watched anal porn or something? Sorry.
Okay. Well, I'm done.
No. Go ahead. One of the voices was what?
Voiced by Alison Brie. And the brother was voiced by Neil Patrick Harris. So really? It's like, okay. Wait, Alison Brie, man, she does sound a little evil. And she's usually play, really, huh?
The name's familiar, but what is she from?
She was from Community, I think, and she was also in Netflix Glow. She's been in a lot of stuff since Community.
Explain that. I watched about 4 episodes of Community and got bored with it. It's not my cup of tea.
It's done by your boy who did.
I know. I know it's Rick and Morty, but Community's just stupid. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's so funny, it's so good." I don't know, man. I didn't like it. It was.
I don't like anything.
It's not true.
I've never seen it though.
It's not true because I
have no desire to watch it.
I like stuff. Okay, like this movie that we're talking about here today. I think is way better than it was given credit for when it came out. But we'll talk about that. Well, we can start on today's feature film is what year did this come out? 2004, right? Yeah, I think 2004. Kind of came out in the wake of maybe Sword and Sandal Overload after Gladiator and a few other movies, and was promoted highly as a big summer blockbuster coming out Memorial Day weekend that year, and starring Brad Pitt, who was at the top of his game back in the day. Eric Bana, the great Peter O'Toole, and directed by Wolfgang Peterson, who initially had turned down directing Gladiator, and he regretted it. So he's like, man, I really want to make an epic film. So that's why he chose this film. And that is Troy, which is a telling of the story told in the Odyssey, where based on
the Iliad.
Greek history. Yeah, well, a little bit of both, right? I think. And based on Greek history and the taking of the city of Troy. The first thing I read whenever, I'll summarize it in just a minute, but the first thing I read that doing some research for this film was saying, well, it's not historically accurate. Really? You're telling a story from almost 5,000 years ago. It's probably not going to be historically accurate, if not longer than that. I don't know how old the story is.
I thought it was debatable if it was real or not.
It's not contingent with Homer's Iliad.
Right.
Is what.
Yeah, and what Long was saying,
the epic poem.
Yeah,
right. And what Long said, it's not contingent whether it's real or not, because it's a story essentially that's been passed down from generations to generations to generations, and it's probably been embellished and turned over the years. And what history shows is there was a city called Troy, and we do know that there were massive Greek armies and things like that. But some history shows that the battle might have only lasted one day, where some history shows the battle might have lasted weeks, like in this movie. But some people don't really know. But essentially, this is the story of King Agamemnon, who is power hungry. He wants all the armies of Greece under his command, and the only one remaining is the city of Troy. And but he at first, once he says, you know what, I'm going to leave them alone. They're too powerful. I'm not going to bother them. But then Prince Paris has to go and get horny, basically, and falls in love with Helen, who's considered the most beautiful woman in the entire world, played by Diane Kruger, an unknown actress at the time, because Wolfgang Peterson initially did not even want to cast Helen. He was just going to, he had some popular names in that he was thinking of, but then Warner Bros. Was like, well, why don't you go with an unknown? Because he felt that no one was beautiful enough to play her, so he chose Diane Kruger. She does okay for what she has to work with in this movie. And so Paris brings her back to Troy, and this pisses off Agamemnon because that's his brother's wife. So he heads to Troy to get her back, and it turns into a war in which the great Achilles, who is a kind of a neutral in this thing, but yet he fights for Agamemnon because essentially, it's not so much that Achilles really takes a side. He kind of takes a side that he believes is going to win. Is the way I felt about it. It's like but yet he respected Hector and Priam and their side of things too. And Achilles, of course, is played by Brad Pitt, who's really fucking good in this movie. This is kind of the beginning where you saw how good of a actor. Well, Brad Pitt was already doing good acting before this, and they can't win this battle at all. There's no way they can breach the walls of Troy, and Hector's army is just too powerful. So once Hector makes a mistake and kills Achilles' cousin, it pisses Achilles off, and he challenges Hector to a one-on-one fight, and he kills Hector. And once he does that, it gives the morale that Agamemnon's army needs to possibly finish this battle, but they still can't figure out how to do it. So they create the Trojan horse and pretend like they have left the island, and the Trojans pull the horse into the city, and lo and behold, Agamemnon's army is all hiding inside, and they sack Troy, and that's basically how the movie ends. And quite an epic last 30 minutes there in the film, for sure. Very violent, too. Especially the director's cut. I don't know which version y'all watch, but the director's cut is extremely violent in this movie. Lots and lots of gore added to it. That's not the regular version. And
infanticide, all that, yeah.
I
babies and shit.
I saw this movie in theaters, and I liked it the moment I saw it. I thought it was a great epic tale. Man, Brad Pitt's great in it. Brian Cox wanted to be in this movie because he always wanted to be in an epic, and man, he has a lot of fun being the evil king Agamemnon. He kind of hams it up a little bit, but but he's enjoying playing the part. Brad Pitt's really good. Eric Bana is amazing in this movie. Just really good. Orlando Bloom's kind of a weak spot in the movie. It almost feels like I read that he hated his character, so it feels like he's kind of like just there in this movie.
Yeah.
The great Peter O'Toole is in this, and he's always fantastic. Strangely, he's passed away now, but he did not like this movie. He didn't really complain about making it or anything, enjoy that. He just, when he sat down at the premiere for the finished film, he had not seen the finished film, and he just didn't like it whenever it was all said and done, which I thought was strange. I tried to look. I couldn't find any reason why he said he didn't like it. He just said he didn't like the movie.
Actually, I think Peter O'Toole has always been uncomfortable watching himself on screen.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that's always been his one thing. Him and what was it, Adam, the guy who played Kylo Ren?
Adam Driver.
Oh, Adam Driver.
Adam Driver. Yeah. They can't stand watching themselves on screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris Evans doesn't really like to watch himself on screen either. He would show up at the Avengers movies and stuff, and he'd stay for like 5 minutes. He's not a big fan of watching himself either. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. So when did you guys first see this film?
He was very excited to make the movie, though.
Oh yeah.
Peter O'Toole, that was. Yeah.
Oh, and he's great. He's great in the movie.
Oh yeah, it was like one of his last film roles too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I was late to the game on this movie. I think I saw it 2016, 2017. It was free on Vudu one day. And I was like, oh, yeah, that movie came out. I remember, them boasting about Brad Pitt's diet and workout for that movie. And there's like a couple magazines I saw, maybe like Men's Fitness magazine or something.
He's cut as fuck in this movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. He hit the weights hard for like 9 months to get the look of Achilles he wanted. He definitely looks like someone whose mother grabbed him by the ankle, dipped him into the magic river, and pulled him out. That's how Achilles got his powers. That's why his heel is his weak spot, because his heel did not go into the river by his godmother. Or his mother, who was a god. And then I think it came back on Vudu free 2 years ago, and I watched it again, and this was a third watch for me, and I haven't seen the director's cut, so I went ahead and I bought the director's cut. I think there's more blood in it.
Definitely more blood, yeah.
And I think they kept the scene where Achilles prays to Zeus that the Greek army loses because of his hatred for Agamemnon, and he doesn't want him to succeed. They had a feud at the beginning of the plague, but of course, his downfall, his weakness is his rage, and his brother dies, so he ends up, being fully vested in bringing Hector to justice and, bringing the city down. Not, of course, not for Agamemnon, which you see back and forth through the movie. You can tell he hates him. He don't fight for him; he fights for Achilles. And he even tells his men, "Don't fight for him; you fight for me." But yeah, this is a good movie. Some people are like, "Yeah, it doesn't follow the Liliad, as much as it wanted to." Bulgarius is a river, not a person. The big guy at the beginning. It starts with the Battle of Troy, but they have to establish Achilles at some point. They put stuff in movies for certain reasons. It's just one of those things,
Mm-hmm.
I saw it before in a couple years after it was released on television, and I enjoyed it. I watched the director's version, the director's cut, just to see the differences, I guess, and it's definitely the characters are more fleshed out than I remembered. And I don't think they gave much screen time to the slave girl in the original cut.
Yeah, Brees
did. Yeah,
this is Rose one of Rose Byrne's first big roles. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I knew she looked familiar.
Yeah.
And forgotten how dumb the king was. the Trojan king.
No.
So, but anyhow, to a fault, really. I mean, even his sons are like, it's great that you're putting a lot of faith in this, but we got to think on more practical terms here instead of going by prophecy or good faith. So, and for the good old king, it works most of the time. The battle scenes are good. I could definitely sense some of the influence from the Lord of the Rings. Big, massive armies.
Yeah, epic feeling.
But epic feeling. But yeah, they don't make epics like that anymore.
No.
This is a very well shot movie. Like very cinematic, lots of wide scenes. Even the fight between Hector and Achilles pulls the camera out a lot, so you can see these gladiators going at it. Then it pulls in. That's one thing I really like about it. And you're right. I was thinking, man, what in the last several years? I mean, it's been a while since we've had like epics like this, man. I mean, we've had, ever since the comic movies have hit, and I do enjoy all those. But man, the way of the Hollywood epic, like movies like Troy, seem to kind of be going to the wayside.
Clash of the Titans, maybe.
Yeah, but even that wasn't epic like this, you know. Yeah, and
it's a CGI fest.
Yeah, it's a CGI fest.
It doesn't have big armies, stuff like that.
Yeah, because they shot a lot of this. I was reading. There's a lot of practical effects shot in this. They built a lot of the boats, and they hired a lot of extras and soldiers, and of course they use CGI too on parts. A lot of this was filmed in Mexico, and which they felt looked like the Greek sands and stuff, and the sets got destroyed a couple of times by hurricanes. There were a lot of problems on the set, but they managed to get the movie made.
100-degree weather.
Yeah, very hot weather.
Passing out.
Yeah, actors getting sick and passing out. Brad Pitt said it was a grueling shoot. That was just not one of the hardest things he ever did. But it all came together quite nicely. One of the strange things is the score for this movie is kind of interesting. The initial score that was done was thrown out. The studio didn't like it. Wolfgang Peterson didn't like it. So they brought James Horner in to record some stuff, but he didn't quite finish it. So the movie actually has scores from other movies mixed into this, along with what James Horner was able to finish. But you wouldn't know it.
I heard some familiar themes.
Right.
Wait a minute. I heard that theme from somewhere.
Somehow it's all mixed together and it works. It pulls it off somehow.
It'd be funny if they accidentally clicked the wrong button and friggin' Achilles is coming in. Bum, 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 bum.
But it is an interesting thing for an epic film to not have its own score. It kind of has half the score. But the movie was already at budget and it had to be released by Memorial Day, so they did what they did to get the film into theaters. But that's okay. Unless you really are a music buff and hardcore, know what you're listening for, you're probably not going to notice. But I want to talk about what Long was saying. There is some really great fights in this movie, some great sequences and fight sequences, and the battle between Hector and Achilles is it's so well choreographed, such a good fight scene, and they didn't use stunt doubles for that. Eric Bana and Brad Pitt did it themselves, and they made a bet that anyone that lands punches had to pay so much money, and Brad ended up owing Bana about $800, and Bana didn't owe him anything. He never landed one punch on Brad. He choreographed it perfectly. So I thought that was really cool.
Nice.
Speaking about that scene, man, it was just so heartbreaking to see his body getting dragged around.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that just makes it even worse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's one thing to see Hector get killed and stuff, but just seeing his body being treated so disrespectfully, dragged across, the countryside like that, it just makes you feel even worse. This is the most expensive, sad movie I've ever watched.
Well, yeah, and the whole sequence leading up to it, where he's telling his family bye and he's kissing his son, and it's heartbreaking because you kind of know at that point, even though you've seen the film before, if you had never seen the film before, you kind of know what's going to happen. You get the feeling that he's going to his death. He can't beat Achilles, and you're absolutely right. It's an absolutely heartbreaking scene. And and it sucks because you're like, God, because you really, at this point in the film, you really like Hector's character a lot and you're rooting for him.
Yeah, and if you read the Lilad, you know that Achilles comes in with this badass new armor, and he just, he takes out Hector, and the poem ends. The poem ends there with Hector's death. Being dragged, and then his father, does sneak out and talk to Achilles, and that's whenever they cry together. They try and they find a common ground that both their fathers are going to mourn their sons in this battle. But yeah, man, it's too bad we didn't get to see Achilles have golden armor. He's supposed to have golden armor, but he puts on his cousin's armor, was slain.
Some of that was Wolfgang Peterson. When he came in as a director and he got the script, they did some script doctoring, and he wanted it to have more of a historical, realistic feel to it. So there was a lot more stuff with the gods and their powers, I guess, in the original script, and he took some of that out. He felt it was okay to mention the gods, but he didn't want you never tell the story of Achilles' heel in the movie.
Yeah.
They allude to it that he's possibly immortal and things like that, but a lot of that was Wolfgang Peterson himself. He wanted the movie to have a more grounded feel to it than to be grounded in gods and superpowers. So maybe that's why they didn't do the golden armor.
Yeah. That one.
Why do Western directors always have to make things realistic? Why can't they just lean into their source material?
Well, I don't know.
I would have liked more.
We have to make it realistic and relative. It's like, man, bitch, just do something that's never been done on film before.
It would make it more epic, more of an epic for sure.
Exactly. What was that Tarsem Singh one that had that directed movie with Henry Cavill before he became Superman?
Immortals.
Yeah, you saw that one.
Yeah,
right?
It's weird.
Yeah, I know it's not like mind blowing or anything,
right?
But I heard it was It had some interesting visual.
Yeah, it did.
Stuff.
It's kind of interesting visually, like it's just like Gods of Egypt, which is the best B movie you'll ever watch. Have you seen that yet?
I've heard about it. Is that the one where Jeffrey Rush plays Ra, the sun god?
I think Jeffrey Rush is in it. It's got Gerard Butler. It's got Chadwick Boseman's in it. The chick who played Elektra on the Daredevil TV show, she's in it. It's the guy who played Jaime Lannister on Game of Thrones is in it. It's got all these actors in it. It's ridiculously bad, but it's also ridiculously fun as hell.
Yeah.
I enjoy the fuck out of that movie because it's just that kind of flick.
That's Alex Proyas.
Yeah, it's Alex Proyas. Yeah, and
okay.
It's a fun flick to watch. It's always $5 on Vudu all the time. And I have it. I have a copy of it that I picked up, and it's just a fun flick. It's definitely a popcorn movie. That's what it should be. Wolfgang Peterson, man, he's kind of had an interesting career. Like, he's I'm pulling up his or his filmography here. He's only directed 30 films, but he's had some pretty big hits. He did The Never Ending Story. He did Das Boot, the 1981 film. He did Enemy Mine, which we did on the show. In the Line of Fire with Clint Eastwood, which was a really good movie. The virus film Outbreak, he directed that.
Okay.
Air Force One with Harrison Ford.
Nice.
He did that. The George Clooney film The Perfect Storm, that was okay.
It was all right.
And he did the Poseidon remake after he did Troy. And then he did some other film. It looks like a foreign film. But so, he hasn't done a whole lot of movies, but he's done some really great movies too. I guess he's picked and choose what he wanted to do over the years. And considering he hasn't done a lot of movies, this is his third film of his that we've done. That says something right there. We did Never Ending Story and Enemy Mine. And I don't know. He hasn't done anything since 2007. He might be semi-retired now. He is older, Yeah,
maybe so.
But I was looking at his filmography though. I know Das Boot is considered his what's the word? His
one of his
benchmark. His benchmark film. Okay. But I was looking at. Yeah, I think Troy might be his. Based on the things he's done, I think Troy might be his second best movie he's done.
His peak.
Yeah, based on that. I mean, because this is This is a movie that I think is really good. I can see how critics might think the last 45 minutes feels very rushed, because you really do have this very epic film with these big battles, and all of a sudden the horse is wheeled in the city and it's all violence and action. Then it's just kind of over. That might be my only beef with this movie, is it feels like the sacking of Troy just seems to happen kind of quick. Everyone's dying off and the city gets destroyed, and okay, the movie's over.
Yeah. I wish they would have made that arrow shot a little bit more epic, because in the poem,
it just kind of happens.
Yeah. Apollo is supposed to intervene and guide the arrow into the weak spot of Achilles' heel to help out
just
Prince.
Paris just shoots and gets lucky. Yeah.
Like he's like, friggin' Legolas. Like, okay, I'm going to be Legolas for the second, and Yeah. And then there's this little brief epilogue with Sean Bean's character, who does not die in this movie, let that be noted, where he explains, because he's Odysseus. He's from Homer's Odyssey.
Yeah. And so that might be my only beef with
sequel to the Iliad, right?
Mm-hmm. He has trouble on the way home from this.
Took him 15 years to get home.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. He is the last person to return, which they allude to in the film after the first encounter with the with Troy and the army of Troy. He's like, finally, last to arrive.
All right. And I know you were texting earlier about Diane. You said something in the text along about Diane Kruger playing Helen. But she does okay for what she's given. She's not given a whole lot to do in this movie. In fact, for being a character that the whole war is centered around, you would think that she would have more to do than to be a pretty face and get naked. But she's really not given a whole lot to do in the film. She's just sort of there. But she does okay. They were talking about Jennifer Lopez at one point, a couple of other actresses playing the part. So, it is what it is. Hey, it launched her career. She's happy. She's been in several things since, so good for her.
Yeah.
And, she looks different in other movies from this.
Yeah, I didn't realize she was the same chick in the National Treasure movies. I didn't even know it was the same girl. Yeah.
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 Maybe she didn't. She can't wear that much makeup in
maybe so.
Grease or something. I didn't recognize her in any other movie role, and this is the one where it's like, hey, she's very pretty.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. His modern makeup makes her look so different.
Maybe so. She definitely gives us a couple of good views of her in the director's cut. That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
And we're appreciative for that.
Yes.
But I really like this movie, man. I enjoyed watching it again, and I think it's a really cool story. And I'm not going to get into whether the history is real or not. If it is, it makes for cool history. If it's not, it makes for a cool story. I give it. I'm going to rank this pretty highly, man. I think it's almost an A+. I think it's a really good film. I think Banya and Pitt's performances, Brian Cox's performance, just the epicness of it makes this kind of a little bit over the top for me.
B+. Hated the ending. Well, I don't hate the ending. I just
you knew how it was going to end.
I was going to say A- because there's just a couple things that they could have done, and they kind of rushed the ending. That's it. I think they should have started with the Siege of Troy, maybe some quick epilogue about Helen of Troy or Helen of Sparta, being, swooned and taken, and then, boom, we start right where the poem starts, right in the middle of the action. We get right to it, and you save more time for those more epic shots. But it's still a good movie. It's
right.
A-.
Cool. Well, that leads us into our top 5 this week. There was some controversy over Diane Kruger being cast as an unknown playing Helen. So we thought we would look at 5 actresses that we thought could have played Helen. And this could have been, I guess I should have texted you, it could have been alive or dead. It didn't matter. Just actresses throughout history that could have played Helen. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I actually dug into some classic actors too. I'm going to start with Claudia Cardinale from some of the spaghetti westerns back in the old days. She's a very beautiful woman. Um, that's my number 5. And I first saw her in that movie Once Upon a Time in the Old West with Henry Fonda and
great movie.
And Charles Bronson. Man, she's beautiful.
Sergio Leone. That's a great film.
Pink Panther. Yeah.
Good one.
Actually, sometime since we kind of have this year's movies planned already, but I think sometime next year we'll probably do Once Upon a Time in the West. I've thought about it a couple of times. And it's a great film. And it's easily accessible. It's always on Netflix and places to watch, so it's not hard to get a hold of. I guess I'll go second. I never go in the middle.
Yeah.
I'll let you go last, Matt. I never go in the middle. I have at 5.
Yeah, Matt rarely gets last spot.
At 5, I have
both of y'all passive aggressively.
This might be a cliche pick, but man, she could play any role given to her, and that's the great Audrey Hepburn. Beautiful, beautiful woman. She could easily be Helen. I mean, one of our great actresses of all time.
Yeah,
nice. I did not go retro with my first pick. I've got Mila Kunis. Yeah, I've got Mila Kunis at number 5. I think she could do it. Wait
a minute, who?
Mila Kunis.
Oh,
that 70s show.
She's pretty.
Yeah,
she's pretty, but she's just not a good actress. That's my only problem with her. No. Like, I love the Book of Eli, but she's just not good in the movie. The rest of the movie's so good around. The rest of the movie's so good around her. Then there's her in the movie. It's just like,
This role, though, I took that in consideration. I'm like, she wouldn't have to say much, True. It's like, so you really need a face. So I was really just going off of looks and not acting ability when I made.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with her because some of my picks are very similar to going off looks. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, Long, give us your number 4, man.
Another retro pick. I went with Raquel Welch. I think she's a very beautiful woman, and
in her prime, Raquel Welch. Yeah,
in her prime, Raquel Welch.
Now
she's wearing the caveman bikini from 1 million years BC.
Right. At number
4.
At number 4, the always magnificent to look at Monica Bellucci. I mean, come on. I mean,
yeah.
There's not a guy out there that hasn't gotten a stiffy because of her. I mean, let's be honest. Yep. Nice. This is going to turn into pervertism.
Of course. I went with Megan Fox, number 4.
2 bad actresses in a row, Matt.
Yeah. They don't need to act. They just need to stand there and look.
Back Transformers, Megan Fox, yes. Now she's
Transformers.
She's so stoned out of her mind nowadays. She looks terrible. She's had so much Botox in that face. Ugh.
Yeah.
She can't be much more past. I don't know how old she is. I don't have it in front of me, but she can't be much past her mid-30s. And she's already getting Botox and all kinds of shit in her face. Maybe she's early 40s now. Who knows?
35. She's as old as 35. I am.
Yeah, she's already having all kinds of plastic surgeries or whatever. Good Lord. All right, Long, number 3.
My number 3 is Olivia Wilde.
Nice.
I think she's very beautiful.
Oh yeah, good pick. I would do her.
I first saw her in Tron. She looked cool.
Oh yeah.
Man, did you guys like Cowboys and Aliens? She's in that where she steps off and she disrobes and all that. It's fantastic. Actually, I kind of enjoy that. I kind of enjoy that movie just because it's so stupid.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford know they're in a ridiculously dumb movie, but they're having fun in it. It's Jon Favreau, so it's not all bad. At number 3, man, I have you got to go back to prime time. There's no doubt she can play this part, and that's Angelina Jolie. I mean, maybe she's a little bit more of a powerful actress. She should probably play a queen or a princess or something, but she could be Helen also. There's no doubt. Now, I wouldn't buy her Helen against Orlando Bloom because he's kind of a pussy compared to Angelina Jolie, but she can play the part.
Yeah,
I'm sure the role was offered to her. Or
probably
to her at that time.
Yeah, probably mentioned. I've got Jessica Alba, number 3. I think she's
Matt's going for broke with the bad actresses.
Yeah, man. Dude, pretty face, man. That's all. That's it.
Well, she can pass off as the Greek.
Jessica's extremely hot. She still looks good even today. She's a good looking woman.
She's 40. Yeah, still looks good, man.
And she still looks really good.
30. Yeah.
Yep. Number 2.
Number 2, Emily Blunt.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I've always liked her. She's a very versatile actor.
Good actress.
Very beautiful to look at. She could do action like in Tomorrow. There's always a better... What's that?
Edge of Tomorrow.
The Groundhog Day sci-fi? Yeah, thank you.
Edge of Tomorrow. Dude, I love that movie.
Yeah.
That's such a kick-ass film.
And she played the Queen Victoria, and and she was also in the horror movies.
The Quiet Place.
The one that you have to be quiet.
Yeah. I still need to watch part 2. That's a good pick. My last 2 are a little bit more modern. Not that Angelina Jolie and Monica Bellucci aren't modern, but newer actresses on the scene in the last few years. At number 2, man, I have Gal Gadot. I mean, come on. You know, we already know she kicks ass as Wonder Woman. She's smoking hot. She could. I would steal her from a king for sure.
There you go. Yeah. Not bad. I've got I think she was offered. She was like second in line to play this pick. I think to play this part. Keira Knightley. I've got Keira Knightley as number 2. I think that, man, right around this time too, the Pirates of the Caribbean film came out, and she was
is she still working?
I don't know. If she's still working.
Doing family? Yeah, I haven't seen her much lately. She's very pretty.
Yeah, and a good actor.
Yeah,
for a change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, broke the tradition.
Did you ever see the King Arthur movie she did with Clive Owen? That's kind of a cool movie, you know. And she was in that.
No, I have not.
You haven't seen that? That's a good movie. That telling of King Arthur.
It had a cool trailer, but I never saw it.
Yeah,
but I remember the cool trailer.
Drum roll along, brrr, number 1.
Brrr. Number 1, I'm going off the beaten path, and I'm going to go with.
Don't say Aquafina.
Aquafina.
Trish Stratus.
What? Why? Anyways, why do y'all keep throwing curveballs at me?
I don't know. I was just making a joke, man. It was a bad joke. It just came off the top of my head. Okay, it was spontaneous.
Aquafina, huh? That's great.
I think she could do
Trish
it.
Stratus. She's of Greek descent, and she's smoking hot. And she's been in a couple of B or C tier movies.
Probably C.
That's okay.
And Spartans are supposed to be Spartan women are supposed to be strong women too. So it's like she would fit there.
I'm a wrestler.
My number 1 is my current celebrity crush. Well, she has been now for the last 5 or 6 years, and that is Margot Robbie. I mean, ever since I watched The Wolf of Wall Street, I have absolutely fallen in love with her, and I think she's amazing. And yep, I might be a grown man, but goddamn, she does things to my body. She can play Helen. The look on Long's face. He's like, "The fuck's wrong with you, Mark?"
I had the same pick, man.
See?
Number 1. Yeah,
You're
Margot Robbie.
Too.
Man, she can.
She's a good. And we're sitting here teasing about how good she looks. She's a good fucking actress, man. I mean, she has, in just a few films, she has made Harley Quinn as iconic as Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is. I mean, she's fantastic in that role. She's a good actress, man. She's not just a pretty face. She really is good at what she does. And she's talked about that before. Like, she doesn't want to be just known as her look. She really tries really hard to be amongst the best, and she's really good, and deservedly so.
Doing her own stunts,
Yeah.
Good.
So good stuff. Fun top 5. Sometimes it's good to have some fun, even if we're being men. That's all I'll say. Men. Let's do some news. There's not a whole lot. It was kind of a slow week, but let's talk, man. This Super Mario Brothers animated movie that feels like I heard about 5 years ago, and I guess Illumination and Universal are finally getting around to it, and Nintendo of America, and it's going to come out next Christmas, not this Christmas, but December of 2022. And they announced the voice cast this week, at least some of it. Chris Pratt playing Mario. I didn't write it down. Who's playing Luigi?
Always Sunny in Philadelphia, dude.
Yeah, Sunny.
Charlie Day.
Charlie Day.
Yeah.
Jack Black as Bowser. Interesting voice cast, but some good voice there. I didn't necessarily view Chris Pratt as Mario, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
If he makes Mario sound like freaking Lego dude, I'm out.
I would think that he's going to do a little bit different with it. But Disney. Nintendo is very careful with how they license their characters, and they're finally branching out and trying some new things. There's been more Nintendo toys in the last several years, Nintendo Legos, and it's a property that's been ripe for the film world for many, many years now. So it looks like they're giving it a chance, and we'll see how it turns out. Illumination has been very successful with their Despicable Me films and things that they put out. So I feel like it's in good hands. I think it'll be a fun Mario movie. So we'll see how it happens.
And this time Nintendo's keeping a very tight control over how Mario's portrayed versus the first time they did with the Bob Hoskins movie.
Yeah, I think one of the vice presidents of Nintendo, is going to be a producer on the film and be there for every second. So we'll see how it turns out. The very cool Swedish vampire movie, Let the Right One In, has been ordered to series at Showtime as a series. And people might ask how this could work. Well, if you've read the novel, there's definitely enough source material there to turn this into a series. The movie takes about, obviously condenses the novel down into a 2-hour film, and Let the Right One In is a great, great horror film, vampire horror film. So it's got its fans. Of course, the American remake was called Let Me In. See how it turns out over there at Showtime doing a series for it. I know, Matt, you've seen it. Long, have you ever seen Let the Right One In, the Swedish version?
Yeah.
I know Matt has.
No.
We covered that the first year of Halloween Horrors.
I know about it, though.
Yeah, great movie, though. Disney announced Disney Plus Day on November 12th, in which we will get Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings will come to Disney Plus, along with Jungle Cruise, the Rock movie. And looks like there'll be a first look at possibly Boba Fett and the future of the MCU that day. So some stuff to look forward to with Disney. I guess that's the day that Disney Plus launched a couple of years ago. So now it's considered Disney Plus Day. So if you have not seen Shang-Chi, you'll be able to watch it in about 6 weeks or so on your Disney Plus subscription. So
nice.
Cool. That's all the news, man. Like I said, it was kind of a slower week this week. Not much big stuff happened.
I got one piece of news. Avatar 2 has been announced with a release date.
Really?
It is coming out December 16th, next December.
M. Night Shyamalan?
One.
No, not Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
And Sam Worthington's in it, of course. It was like, man, I haven't seen that name in years.
No.
Michelle Yeoh is in it. Jermaine Clement. Yeah. Kate Winslet's in it as well.
I haven't heard her name in a little bit.
Yeah, she's Kate Winslet's been busy. She's been in a lot of smaller production movies throughout the years. She hasn't been resting on her laurels, that's for sure.
And I was reading something like the way they're filming those, because they're kind of doing them back to back, 2 and 3, is they're gonna allow Zoe Saldana to leave for like 6 weeks to film Guardians 3 and film around her, then she'll come back to the Avatar sets. So she's going to be a very busy woman filming Avatar, then leaving
Yeah.
to do Guardians and coming back. So that
Yeah,
James,
and that's why we haven't seen much of Zoe Saldana in the past couple of years. They've been filming that project
for a while.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. We'll see how those turn out, man. I guess it's Cameron, so you got to trust that it's going to be something special, I'm sure.
On Disney's payroll this time.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Avatar, man. It's a good movie.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
It's a solid movie.
Yeah, good movie.
I mean, it's a solid fucking sci-fi epic, and that's what you go to the movies for. You go to the movies to escape, have a good time, be thoroughly entertained, and Avatar does all of that. Even if it is kind of Dances with Wolves in space, it's still thoroughly entertaining, you know. And I like Dances with Wolves, but I'd probably watch Avatar before I'd watch Dances with Wolves, you know. So that says a lot right there.
Yeah,
just because I like science fiction. So, well, let's preview next week's film. This is kind of our prelude to our Halloween Horrors Month, as this movie could be taken as a science fiction film, but also kind of as a horror film. And it is a comic book movie. And we did the original film way back, man. When we first rebooted the show, we probably did Hellboy Part 1 within the first couple months of rebooting the show, I remember. So we're going to go talk Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
Maybe it's the cold wind that chills you to the bone, or the strange rumbling beneath the city streets. It's the unnerving sense that there's a world around us we cannot see. It's not your imagination. This world is very real, and it's very, very angry.
Let this remind you why you once feared the dark.
Now, humanity's only hope
officially, we do not exist.
Is our government's best kept secret.
I will kill anyone if that is necessary.
And why don't you just start with me? Now you pissed me off.
Red, we have company.
Oh, crap.
And, I really like the sequel. I mean, I like almost anything Guillermo del Toro does. In fact, I didn't even mention that. Did y'all see the trailer for his new film, Nightmare Alley? That shit looks cool.
No.
I will always watch something Del Toro puts out, and it's been a while since we've covered one of his films. Pan's Labyrinth might be the last time we covered one of his films, and such a great director. And Hellboy 2 is a lot of fun to watch with the great Ron Perlman playing Hellboy. And we felt it was a good lead-in to lead us into Halloween month as we talk Halloween horrors here in a couple weeks, and we will make an announcement on our social media this week as to what those 4 movies we are going to be doing in October are. So it should be fun. I know it's one of Matt's favorite months. He really enjoys October and Halloween and that time of this year, where me and Long kind of cower in fear a little bit. That's okay. We'll survive. But so Hellboy 2, The Golden Army on next week's show. Until then, go to the rebelradiopodcast.com and check out all our episodes now playing and all our social media. And until next week, continue to be safe out there and take care of each other and and just thank you for listening as always. This has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
This is Long, the Trojan.
Man.
Good Lord. Until next time, as always, remember, just go there and do it.
And do it.
I wish I did it.
Protected.